Chapter 31. The Dong Game. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Ben gazed at the flashing red neon sign above him that read, Domina. It was the name of the bar Antonio brought him to. There was a line of people out front waiting to enter, clogging up the noisy nightlife street even further. Are you sure this place is good? Ben asked. Yup, this spot's famous for chicks, Antonio replied. So you've pulled chicks from here before? Oh yeah. That I don't believe you. Well, not me, but a buddy of mine. Wahoo boy, he tore it up. Antonio rocked his grinning head up and down. Did he though? That I mean that I wasn't there. But this bro on the forums raved about it. This guy posts about a different threesome every day, so he knows his sh*t. Right. Does he? Antonio dropped his smile. Okay, look, I turned 21 not long ago, so I'm not clued into Manhattan bars that much. Let's just see how it goes. Ben didn't feel great taking nightlife advice from a bro on the forums, but it's not like he had a better source. Alright, did you have to wear that shirt though? Antonio was wearing a brown t-shirt that said, My pen is huge. Antonio grinned like he knew a secret. You're readin' it wrong. That it's a pun, bro. The pen is should be read as penny, I know. I'm asking, why did you wear it? Antonio looked at him like Ben was an idiot. Chicks dig huge dongs, bro. I need to explain this to you. Ben's jaw dropped. His cousin has gotten stupider with age. He cursed in his mind. Whether or not they like that isn't the issue. The problem is the shirt. Then Antonio tapped his head and showed an apologetic smile. He rebuked himself for not having more patience with Ben. He recalled that Ben was only 18. When Antonio was that age, he also wasn't aware of many basic dong rules. Antonio apologized to Ben, and reminded himself, be patient with him. The dong game runs deep. It's layered like an onion. Ben will learn in time. Ben glanced sideways at him. Why is he holding his hands in front of him like that? Is that an Obi-Wan Kenobi impression? Antonio gave him a reassuring nod. Don't worry, cuz. There's levels to this. Trust in the process. Ben rolled his eyes. Whatever. But I've seen you in the sauna when we were younger, and it is not as advertised. Antonio shook his head with a wide grin. By the time they know that, it'll be too late, Ben. It'll be too late. For some of us, it's already too late. Ben regretted asking. Antonio changed the subject. Bro, let's work the line. What do you mean? We don't have to be inside to pick up chicks. We can first butter our biscuits outside a bit. That way, when we get inside, we won't be startin' with empty plates. We'll already have some chicks to talk to. It sounded like a good idea to Ben, so he followed Antonio's lead. Antonio strutted past the line, throwing out his favorite nightlife openers. What up, ladies? You girls trying to get Patrick Swayze tonight? The girls glanced at his shirt and showed expressions within the narrow range between dislike and disgust. Their verbal responses were not ideal. After a few rounds with similar results, Antonio figured the verbal opener wasn't working. He tried a confident non-verbal approach. He walked over to some girls with his thumbs out, pointing them in a rocking motion to his shirt as he nodded and made hard eye contact. A few minutes later, the two of them waited online. Ben patted Antonio's back, consoling him. I bet the lighting out here is the problem. Let's try again inside where there's better lighting. Yeah, you right. I'm sure that's it. Antonio raised his head again. Ben thought, the lighting should be better inside. Hopefully it'll be dark enough where no one can see that shirt. After a while, they reached the front of the line. It was time for the ID check. Ben took out the Club Rat fake ID, taking a last look at the old grimacing troll on the front. According to the system, this would get him inside. He didn't see how, but it cost 500 points. If it didn't work, he'd sell it on eBay to try to recoup his losses from Danny DeVito fans. With a nervous smile, Ben handed the ID to the bouncer. As the bouncer looked between Ben and the ID, Ben bent his knees and puffed his cheeks to look more like the photo, but it was all for nothing. It worked. The bouncer didn't give the ID a second glance, letting Ben through right away. It's really a magical alchemy item. Ben told himself as the gate of truth tore away a chunk of his dignity. Ben followed Antonio up a set of gray stone stairs to the bar. With every step closer, the blasting music grew louder. When they stepped through the large wooden doors onto the dark dance floor, the boom of the music became overwhelming. Men and women filled the space, laughing and shaking their bodies. Antonio leaned over to Ben to whisper something in his ear, but Ben couldn't hear a word of it. The music was loud, but that wasn't the reason. Something else was ringing in his ears, capturing all his sensory attention. It was a system alert. Dungeon instance detected, special event initiated. Chapter 32. Dungeon instance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dungeon instance detected, special event initiated for user's first dungeon run. Ben's eyes popped out as he peered around. The bass from the speakers thumped in his chest. The heat from the dancing and drinking patrons washed over him like a wave as he tried to acclimate. Yet, no matter where he looked, he didn't see any goblins or orcs running around. What dungeon? This is a damn bar. Special event. Slaying biddies and adventurers. Double rewards for the next 3 hours. After this alert, Ben flipped his script. What bar? I was blind, but now I see. This is clearly a dungeon. He would call it Hogwarts if it meant double rewards. Despite the lack of monsters, this bar Domina was unusual. Although it had everything a normal bar did, there was a dominatrix or SM theme, decorated with lots of black leather, warehouse I.P.S., and sharp metal spikes. Is that why the system considered it a dungeon? Ben squinted. I just hope slaying is a metaphor. Antonio brought him back to earth with an elbow nudge to the arm. Bro, have you ever done night game? Ben shook his head. Antonio realized Ben had never been out to a nightlife venue before and understood Ben needed to learn the basics first. Okay, cuz, it's like this. Approaching women at night is different. If you see a chick by herself, you can open her like normal, but at night, very few people are alone. Most travel in packs. This causes many more issues. For example, let's say there are 2 chicks, and you open one of them. What do you think is gonna happen? Ben shrugged. What'll happen is regardless of how much your target likes you, her friend will pull her away, effectively blocking your C***ck. Antonio's face became solemn. This is the dreaded ancient practice of C** blocking you may have read about in history textbooks. But in modern times, scholars now understand the psychology of these villains. Antonio gave off the aura of a philosopher in a D***CKT. Shirt. The reason for the C** blocker's dark path is she doesn't want to be alone. Get me? If you occupy her friend, the other chick's going to be left by herself, which is a nightmare to a woman. On top of that, the C** blocker can also become jealous of the target because they're getting all the attention. Ben processed this new information. Speaking over the loud music, Antonio continued. That's why we call any group a set, and the ones that are not your target chick, the potential blockers of the C***ck, we call them obstacles. Think of obstacles like mines that if not defused, will blow your set up. Obstacles. The word seemed too appropriate to Ben in this dungeon instance. Yeah, try opening some sets yourself first so you'll know what I'm talking about. I'll tell you what to do. So far, you've mostly been opening chicks who were alone, right? Ben nodded. He opened some groups to practice public speaking, but those never went very far. All his success was with solo girls. Okay, so before you were using single-dot target openers, but now you're going to use group openers. It's important you open all the chicks in the set together, not only your target. Otherwise, the obstacle will trigger a timer and eventually explode. That means your opener also can't be too direct on one chick. It has to be an indirect opener for the group, some question or comment to get everyone to take part. Ben understood. He came up with some ideas. Right, so you open the set, and then once you're stuck in, you work on defusing the obstacle. You do that by chatting them all up first and even giving the obstacle more attention. Then once she's defused, you can focus on your target, and hope the obstacle will go off and do her own thing. Ben got the general point. Okay. I'm going to try it. Ben scanned around for a group of 2 girls that in the corner at a small round table. He saw 2 girls talking. He made his approach. Hey girls. Ben greeted. The 2 girls looked up at Ben, waiting for him to continue. Group opener. A question that includes both of them, he reminded himself. Who's the bigger slut? Ben needed to choose his target, and S.L.U.Tiness was his key factor. He wagged his finger from one girl to the other, doing eeny meeny miny mo. He expected one of them to stop his finger at the correct answer, but his answer never came. Not with words anyway. He dodged a drink. What's with that opener? Antonio yelled. It's basic math. They can't both be the same level of slut. Ben defended himself. Why ask them who's S.L.U. tire at all? Or ask what, looks and personality? I'm not that shallow. I only care about S.L.U. Tiness. Antonio's mouth hung open. He was speechless. He felt there was a pearl of sage wisdom to the words, but somehow the logic seemed flawed. He made a suggestion. Okay, that opener didn't fly. Ease up a little bit. How about you try something different? Instead of a question, try a comment. Ben thought it sounded reasonable. He looked around for another 2-dot set, and spotted 2 women at the corner of the bar drinking beer and chatting. He went over. A comment this time, he said to himself as the 2 women glanced at him. Of the 2 of you. Ben paused, showing a confident smile. One is a bigger slut. That one would be. You did eeny meeny miny mo again. Antonio shouted. It's called using body language. Take a speaking class and you'll know about it. Ben responded. Antonio rubbed his temples. Aight. It's clear you're not ready to make up group openers on the spot. Ben sighed. Fine. Even though those sets bombed, he made an important discovery. Now that I consider it, the system should have some hidden stats. My drink dodging skill has improved by leaps and bounds. The young hero's growth motivated him to continue exploring this treacherous dungeon. He was becoming more powerful. Chapter 33. Defusing obstacles. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You guys look like you're having the most fun out of anyone here. Ben opened 2 women at the bar using the line Antonio gave him. Yeah. We are. The cute one said as they both chuckled and looked at him. He chatted both of them up with jokes, keeping it friendly, not focusing on his target. Choosing a target was easy in this set. One was cute and one was a 3/10, unacceptable by both system and man. Things were going well. The 3 of them laughed and conversed over 5 minutes. Then the cute target excused herself to make a phone call outside, leaving the obstacle with Ben. Ben considered his next move. Okay, we've been talking long enough. Now's the perfect chance to defuse the obstacle. He put on a warm smile and moved closer to whisper something in her ear. The woman giggled, expecting another funny joke. Listen, pig, your friend is mine. This is life or death for me. So you best get the F***ck out the way. Antonio gave Ben a gaze mixed with fear and respect. Did you really say that? That was too much. Ben agreed. I know, right? Her response was too much. She didn't have to scream like a stuck pig. It was just a little joke/threat. Ben made a nervous laugh. The 8 days deadline had him on edge. He reassured himself. I'm a good guy. It was a joke. He was just kidding. Mostly. After the failed deactivation, the obstacle screamed and the bouncers almost kicked Ben out. They only backed off after Antonio appeased them by saying it was a joke gone wrong, somehow defusing the situation. Things were not going well so far, but there was one bright spot. He gained an achievement. Congratulations. You've unlocked the achievement. Forever Dry, Uncommon. Dodge 3 drinks thrown by different women within an hour, distributing reward. PUA points plus 200, distributing reward. PUA points plus 200, event bonus, 400 points. The double rewards were worth every drop. What else can I get women to throw at me? It was the birth of a dodging master. Ben had 750 points now, enough to redeem a mystery box. Whatever he got could help him make more points over this special event. So he excused himself to the bathroom to try his luck. Last time I did an unboxing in a men's room, I got a trash banana peel. I hope the bathroom isn't a factor. Bathrooms were seldom places one struck a fortune. Ben walked into the small bar bathroom. Dungeon safe zone detected. What am I safe from? The monster biddies. Ben shook his head. He couldn't understand how this system viewed the world. Still, it made him curious about what other secrets this dungeon held. Ben entered a stall and went shopping. Make me feel goo, Ben almost sweet. Talked the system again, but stopped when he realized there were 2 issues. First, there were half a dozen guys outside who Ben was certain were staring at his stall now. Second, on the last occasion of his bathroom pillow talk, the system didn't show him love. Snort. I won't kiss your cold but cheeks. Since she didn't appreciate him, he wouldn't sweet talk her anymore. Ben didn't waste any more time and bought a mystery box. Give me something to get through this obstacle course of S.L.U.Ts. Instead of the system, he prayed to Allah for good luck. Ben heard he was big on harems. In essence, his belief was for sale to the highest bidder. A small light show later and Ben looked down at a 6-colored treasure. It was a propeller hat. A multi-colored baseball cap with a spinning plastic rotor on top. No. There must be something special about this. Ben read the description. Propeller hat, item, common, X1. It's a hat. Oh. There is one special property. If you push the propeller, it provides spinach. Suitable for dogs and deranged humans. F***ck. Ben slammed the cap into the ground. As he was about to leave, he looked back, then sighed. In my platoon, there'll be no items left behind. A hero willing to rescue a propeller hat became qualified for the Derpal Star. Seeing Ben leaving the bathroom, Antonio approached him. His eyebrows raised when he saw the multi-colored hat hanging out of his pocket. Sick propeller hat cuz. Did you have that before? Why haven't you been peak.o.c.king that this entire time? Ben wanted to curse. Because I don't want to die av.i.r.g.i.n in a week, that's why. Noticing Ben wasn't interested in the topic, Antonio talked about something else. Alright, back to business then. That last approach was no good, man. You need to take a softer attitude when defusing obstacles. It's like a bomb, you need to be gentle, or it'll just explode and blow your C***ck off. Ben listened. How do you defuse them then? Make them like you. Be nice and befriend them. Then they'll be less likely to block you. Ben nodded. Makes sense, although I wish you told me that before. Yeah, a friend wouldn't threaten you. He decided to try something else. Okay. I'm going in again. Ben opened another two-dot set standing by a window. Like last time, his opener went well. He chatted with them, becoming part of the group. Some minutes later, his target turned around to say goodbye to a couple she knew. Ben noticed this opportunity. He was alone with the obstacle. This is my chance. Defuse the obstacle. Become friends with her. You want to go play Halo? Or we could pick up girls. What happened? Antonio was asking why the obstacle pulled the target away and left with a disgusted expression. Ben's face revealed loneliness. She didn't want to be friends. He looked back in her direction. Mobile Gamer SCU.M. Chapter 34. Wingman Law. You are listening at novelfull.audio. We're switching to Plan B, Antonio declared. Plan B? Ben asked. You're not ready to run groups solo, but it's no big deal. We'll just run groups together then. That's Plan B. With the two of us, the way to defuse the obstacle will become simple. One of us will occupy her. That's the purpose of a wingman. Ben agreed. I'll take the wingman's oath. Antonio continued. It'll work like this. I'll open a set while you ninja where they can't see you. Once I'm stuck in, I'll call you over to join us. Then you come in like SEX. El shuriken that I'll be standing closer to my target, so you'll know who I'm going for. Then you'll focus on occupying the other chick. That way, each of us will get one, and in effect, there'll be no obstacle. Ben's eyes beamed. Brilliant plan. Antonio showed a proud smile. Then they got to work seeking a good two-dot set. Antonio signaled Ben that he found one, before going in and opening two girls ordering drinks at the bar. Ben waited by the DJ booth watching Antonio do his thing. From his angle, Ben couldn't see the two girls well, but he trusted that Antonio's judgment wouldn't be too bad. A few minutes later, Antonio signaled him with a wave, and Ben walked over to join the group. Ben smiled as the distance shortened, preparing to engage the spare girl Antonio wasn't working on. He said his target would be the one he was closer to. Ben looked at the girl closer to Antonio and nodded his head when he saw she was hot. Then he looked at the other one and he froze mid-step. His face fell at terminal velocity. This girl she was probably a sweet girl, like Mom's cherry pie, the 4th of July, she was a whale. Ben didn't enjoy fat-shaming people. He himself was fat not too long ago, but that was not his type. He could sacrifice for the team, but he wouldn't dive onto a meat grenade. Out of nowhere, an abrupt change to the music echoed throughout the venue, distracting Ben. A new dance remix came on. There's such a difference between us and a million miles. Hello from the other side. The flame of Ben's predicament grew as a Dell projectile vomited gasoline onto it. This was the perfect soundtrack to Ben's impending doom. He turned around to glance at the DJ booth and discovered the DJ staring straight into his eyes. Like this bastard had been watching everything all along from his higher podium, and picked this song just for him. Then, the DJ said something to Ben. Ben couldn't hear it, but reading his lips, he understood what he said. F***CKU. Ben gave him the middle finger. The DJ gave him the middle finger back. Ben turned back around. That guy's a gamer. Ben refocused on his current issue of Antonio's set. What to do? Ben's brain went into overdrive as Antonio called him over again. Okay. Isn't this a simple geometry problem? Ben created a plan. He couldn't let his cousin down, so he continued on his way to them. When Ben reached the group, he put on a bright smile. Putting his hand on Antonio's shoulder, he came in for a bro hug. Meanwhile, Antonio introduced Ben to the two girls. Hey, this is my cousin Ben. You're gonna love Hi. A hip bump from Ben cut short the greeting and sent Antonio stumbling until he was right next to the other girl, his new closer target. Ben was now near the one who was more his type. The Pythagorean theorem was useful at last. Everything was right in the world. With a warm smile, Ben said, "My bad, Antonio, I got too excited to see you." "What were you saying? Finish your thought." The two girls escaped far away when Ben and Antonio started wrestling against the bar counter. Antonio yelled, "What the hell was that? You violated the laws of wingmanry. Get off me. I should ask you. What obstacle?" "That was a plasma mine. They only broke it up once a security guard threatened to toss them out of the bar." Antonio took the first step back. "Ike bro. I admit I didn't take weight classes into account when choosing your opponent." Ben also retreated. "I may have speed, but I don't have the power needed to put a heavyweight down. That I also apologize for tagging myself in without warning." He wasn't that sorry though, because that encounter got him 2 achievements. "Congratulations. You've unlocked the achievement. Boxing out, uncommon. Use physical positioning to remove a competing male from a target's vicinity, distributing reward. PUA points plus 200, distributing reward. PUA points plus 200, event bonus, congratulations. You've unlocked the achievement. Defusing traps, uncommon. Defuse a dungeon trap, distributing reward. PUA points plus 200, distributing reward. PUA points plus 200, event bonus. Ben narrowed his eyes at Antonio. "So that whale was a trap. I'll need to watch my back. I've read many novels where a close friend betrayed someone in a dungeon for treasure." Despite that, Ben couldn't hold back a stupid grin. He was rich now. "I have 1050 points. Will there be new items I can buy in the store?" Ben ran to the safe zone like his HP was at 1. Chapter 35. Dungeon Hidden Zone. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dungeon Hidden Zone detected, huh? Ben was so excited about opening his screens that he didn't look where he was going. He glanced at the alert. Hidden Zone. Can explore. Mayhouse treasure or traps, interesting. He looked around to see what this zone contained. BDNV. Ben looked at the dungeon gate he passed through before triggering the alert. It had a photo of a white silhouette in a skirt. Isn't this a female bathroom? Ah! Get out, freak. A woman adjusting her makeup at the mirror screamed when she saw Ben standing there. Sorry, I was looking for the safe zone. Safe zone. Get lost, you perv. Ben rushed out and entered the men's bathroom. Once he was inside, he looked at the hidden zone message again with fear. It's suggesting I explore there. This system's trying to get me arrested. Ben didn't believe there would be a glowing treasure chest in there. Traps. Yes. It was like a honey pot for CX.U.L predators. Shaking it off, he remembered what he came here for. After sitting down in a bathroom stall, he opened his store page. The system had told him that items were hidden if he couldn't afford them. Since the low-level mystery box cost 500, Ben guessed there must have been something available at 1,000. He was right. Mid-level mystery box. 1,000 points. Contains a random item anywhere from common to epic grade. Ben squeezed his fists. Purple equips. Ben almost bought it on instinct but stopped himself. I can buy this or 2 low levels. It looks like this one increased the minimum and maximum tiers by 1. Still, I can get 2 lows for the price of 1 mid. What should I do? After considering a while, Ben chose the mid-level. Cutting out trash items alone was a tremendous boost, not to mention an epic item had to be amazing. The last rare item he got, the mid-level stat growth multiplier, was already incredible. The most important point was he only had a week left and believed a stronger item would have a higher chance of having an immediate effect. He decided. Okay, I've got this. I don't believe I'm cursed by bathrooms. He was two halves for bad items when he did unboxings in bathrooms, but he wasn't going to run back to his dorm. He only had a short time to take advantage of this special event and needed to be efficient. Third time's a charm. No longer hesitating, he purchased it. 1,000 points disappeared from his balance. Several seconds later, a sky blue box with a white question mark appeared in Ben's lap. Licking his lips in excitement, he opened it. The light with this box was different than the low level. It was softer with a light shade of blue. When it shined on Ben, he had a subtle feeling like he was floating in the ocean. Once the light receded, Ben glanced down to find a small black spray bottle. Bad luck perfume, consumable, rare, X1. Spray this on one person to give them very bad luck for 2 minutes, I said. Third time's a charm and it gave me a bad luck item. Is the system trying to be ironic? Also, it seems shabby for a rare item. Whatever, it's still rare. I'm sure it'll come in useful. Ben walked out with his mood having improved a little. He saw Antonio by the entrance trying to use openers based on his T-shirt again, and failing in miserable fashion. Shaking his head, Ben pulled him away. Antonio spoke. Hey cuz, look, let's not fight anymore. That won't get us anywhere. You know, before I opened that set I should have told you about the fat friend theory. What's that? It's the theory that all hot chicks have a fat friend. Is that a theory? Are you sure that's not a scientific law? Well, you know, it's in the same boat as evolution. In science, the definitions of the terms theory and law are complicated. There's a lot of politics involved, and I'm not gonna get into it. Point is, the two chicks like to travel together to make optimal use of space. Makes sense. Having said that, the fat friend in that last set might have been bending the theory a little too far. Her mass was bending the theory, gravity, and causing a disturbance in the force for sure. Antonio shrugged. All sets aren't like that though. From now on, let's do it this way. I'll try to keep a certain minimum standard on both chicks. Though, know this, the one who opens the set gets dibs on first pick. That's the wingman's ancient code. Antonio lowered his head and gave Ben a dignified stare. Ben nodded in agreement. Got it. Let's go again then. Aight. Team Antonio comin' to smash. Ben frowned. What's that? That's our team call. Bro. Ben grimaced that he couldn't bring himself to kill his cousin's enthusiasm though, so he forced a smile. Sure. Antonio spotted two hot girls grinding against each other. His eyes went wide. 2 8-balls at the edge of the dance floor. I'm going in. Being the more experienced one, Antonio did the opener again. Looking over at the two beauties grinding against each other, Ben gulped. These two were better looking than anyone either of them had spoken to yet. If he could turn either of them into a lead, it would make the entire night worth it even if he failed everything else. His eyes flared with excitement. He didn't yet know that in a dungeon, greater treasure comes with greater challenges. Chapter 36. Pigs Get Roasted. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. I can't believe this is going so well. Ben was chatting up one of the two hot girls that Antonio opened. The group of 4 were dancing and chatting. So far, everything was perfect. When Antonio opened them, they warmed up to him right away. Then he signaled Ben over and it became a 2-on-2, with strong cooperation between the cousins. There was no need to compete when both girls were so attractive. Antonio whispered into Ben's ear. Bro, we should bring these two to your dorm, they seem down. Ben also thought so. These two were local NYU students with fake IDs like him. Their dorm was far away and they seemed very easy. Going and into him and Antonio. Ben found it hard to believe, but he thought something might happen with these two. Too bad for Ben, but nightlife was a fickle club. S.L.U.T. As the 4 were dancing together, getting ready to escalate things, a snarky female voice emerged from behind Ben and Antonio. "Becca, Jamie, why are you two dancing with these two?" Ben turned around to find a girl he hadn't seen before. She was short, overweight, and had a rough face, but as he scanned her clothes, he saw they were all top luxury brands. He could also smell alcohol on her breath even from a distance. "Carla." The two girls with Ben greeted the new girl. Ben's girl walked over and exchanged kisses, before pointing to Ben. "They're nice. These are Antonio and Ben." Ben held his hand out to greet Carla. She looked down her nose at his hand and grimaced. Then she turned to Ben's girl and said, I don't talk to losers, and I definitely don't touch them, okay? I can tell they're poor from looking at them, tch. Why'd you want to meet here anyways? This place is full of bridge and tunnel trash. The music here is good." Ben's girl replied, now blushing. "Ugh, it's sh*t. Let's ditch these two and go somewhere better. My friend's promoting and will bring us into VIP at Latrine." Ben raised an eyebrow. "Did she say she's going to a club called Latrine?" Sensing things were moving downhill, Antonio whispered to Ben, "Bro, this new chick is about to wipe out our set with a C***blockalypse." Ben narrowed his eyes. He wasn't one to cause trouble for people, but if they insulted him first and for no reason, he wouldn't take it lying down if he had a choice. "Don't worry. I have an idea that I'm going to preempt her with a C***blocker. Ben put his hands in his pockets, looking for a particular item. When he found it, he put on a warm smile and walked around Carla while she scowled and gave him the stink-eye. Stopping near the girl he was chatting with before, Ben whispered a few words to her, then went back to Antonio. "What happened?" Antonio asked. Ben didn't respond. His left hand in his pocket gripped the bad luck perfume he unboxed earlier. Consumables disappear on use. The perfume was still there, so Ben hadn't used it. "Of course I can't use an item like this on her. I'm not sick in the head. She's only a random obstacle, a girl in ABAR.my parents taught me better." "What did you do?" Antonio asked. "A diplomatic approach," Ben answered. "Oh. Was it something you said to your chick?" "What did you say?" Ben didn't respond. He waited. Diplomacy takes time. "Aya." Carla screamed as her legs flew forward from under her and she fell hard on her back. She also knocked over a tray from a passing waitress with her flailing arms, which sent several drinks pouring all over her. She rolled on the sticky, filthy bar floor, trying to find which way was up. Some people even stepped on her by accident. There were shoe prints on her clothes. She looked at her heels and discovered the culprit. "Why is there King banana peel on the floor?" Ben spread a villainous grin from ear to ear as he asked Antonio, "Did you like my diplomatic approach?" Of course Ben wouldn't use the bad luck perfume on her, but it wasn't because he didn't dare, but because the item was too expensive. Cost-effectiveness and ruthlessness, that's how Ben did diplomacy. He learned from House of Cards. Like I said, I'm not that evil.to waste hard.earn points. That swamp.hog can eat a trash banana peel though. I can afford that sacrifice. Oh my god. My Versace dress. It's ruined. Right then, the DJ put on a new track. When the pimps in the crib ma drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot, everyone nearby cackled at Carla. Even her two friends tried to hide their chuckles. The timing of the song was too perfect. While playing Snoop Dogg's track and waving one hand in the air, the DJ used the other hand to keep scratching back the song back. It was like he wanted to repeat the most suitable line for Carla's situation. "Be no calm when the pigs try to get at you, when the pigs try to get at you, when the pigs try to get at you." Carla kept falling down over and over because her heel was stuck in the banana peel. By coincidence or not, the DJ timed the rhythm of the verse to each drop. Anyone who held back laughter before could no longer stand it. The entire club exploded like a volcano. Only after a fierce struggle with gravity, did Carla manage to stand up. She looked around and saw everyone guffawing at her. "Shut up," she screamed as she ran to the bathroom with the banana peel still hanging from her heel. Snickering themselves, her friends followed her. Ben sneered as the noob rage quit. Super Mario Kart 2017 champion B** TCH. UF KED with the wrong one. Ben didn't fail to represent his title. It was unfortunate that the two hotties left with her, but Ben didn't care, because he got something better. Congratulations. You've unlocked the achievement. Creativity fuels the future, fine. Use a system item in an unorthodox way to defuse an obstacle, distributing reward. PUA points plus 500, distributing reward. PUA points plus 500, event bonus, he exchanged a trash banana peel for 1000 points. Time for another mystery box. Francis Underwood would be proud. Chapter 37. Dungeon Event Mini. Boss, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Quit playin' games with my points. Nah, with my points. Nah, baby, my points. My points. Ben was looking down at the blue mystery box, singing his modernized version of Backstreet Boys' "Quit Playing Games" to the system in his head. He figured if he tried something new on occasion, at some point, he'd tickle this Tsundere system on the right spot. After a deep breath, he unboxed it. A few seconds later, he held a new system item. First, she attempted to turn me into a criminal. Now she wants to make me an addict. A green pack of cigarettes was in Ben's hands. Lucky Clove cigarettes, item, fine, X20. Temporarily increases the smoker's luck a little while smoking. Ben didn't enjoy smoking, but he wouldn't catch lung cancer before the system killed him in 8 days. I'm not sure how useful a little luck is going to be, but there's 20 of them, so it's not bad. He walked back out to the main area of the bar and noticed Antonio was talking to a single girl on a black leather couch. Lucky guy. He found a girl alone. Antonio was right earlier that very few girls were alone in bars. It made things more difficult because of dealing with groups, which Ben learned the hard way today. He felt the cigarettes in his pockets. Well, not much time left, might as well try these and see what happens. Ben went to the smoking section, which was an open patio area at the back of the bar he'd spotted earlier. Upon entering it, he noticed there were a few chairs and heating lamps, but the biggest feature of this area was the open night sky, and of course, the ability to smoke. Smoking indoors was long prohibited in New York. The loud music retreated to the sounds of light conversation. And system alerts. Dungeon hidden zone detected, another hidden zone. Ben shrugged. He didn't have a lighter, so he asked a guy who was smoking to borrow one. Receiving a lighter, Ben took out a cigarette and put it in his mouth. Unlike normal cigarettes, which were white or sometimes black, these cigarettes were emerald green. Ben lit one up and tasted it. Foo! When he exhaled the smoke, he was also surprised to find it was dark green. What's more is he expected to cough since he'd never smoked a cigarette before, but it wasn't harsh at all, almost like breathing in sweet air. When Ben tried to return the lighter to the man, he discovered he had left, having gone inside and forgotten about it. At that moment, an alluring female voice floated over from behind him. "Hey darlin', do you have a light?" Ben turned around. "Whoa," is all that came to his mind. If he had to describe this woman's appearance in one word, it would be provocative. Everything about her style was snappy and revealed so much skin that Ben almost made a loud gulp. She had chin-length white hair, with deep red eye shadow that caused her to stand out like a fox. A black low-cut dress exposed her large cleavage. It lured Ben like a warm bed he had an urge to dive into. This sudden beauty made him speechless for a second, but he soon regained his grip. Ben took out the lighter the guy forgot and lit up an open flame in front of the woman. As he looked at the lighter the guy forgot to retrieve, he wondered, is this because of the lucky cigarette? She gave him an alluring smirk, took out a cigarette, put it in her mouth, and leaned forward into the flame. In this dark area, it lit up her Brie A.S.Ts and gave Ben an even better view. Thanks, she said. No, thank you, he thought. Ben had no qualms with battling in an all-night staring contest with those N.I.P.P.L.Es poking through her dress, but something happened that was even more compelling. Dungeon event mini.boss detected, Ben searched around. At the moment, only the two of them were in this area. He looked back at the woman. Is it her? Ben tried to make sense of it and developed a guess, so he asked her to find out. Do you work here? She smiled. On occasions such as tonight. She exhaled smoke with a sideways blow. I'm a promoter. The name's Leah. Ben, he was still lost in thought about the implications of her title. Then he reasoned, well, I'm not sure what the deal is with this dungeon thing. For now, I'll treat her like normal and act as any responsible ADU.L.T male should. I'll try to bang her. It was hard to find a single woman out at night. This is my chance. She has no whole goalie around. I'll drive it straight into the net. He turned on the charm. How often do you work here? 2 nights a week. Honestly, this bar doesn't have suitable parties that often, rest of the time, it's dead as Dinos. Ben smirked. Since you said, honestly, does that mean when you don't say that, you're lying? Leah blinked a few times. She didn't know how to answer, so she responded with a CXY smirk of her own. She leaned her head to the left as her eyes glistened a bit at Ben now. Maybe. Target's current attraction level. Curious, I'll need to be careful around you then. Ben teased. Several minutes later, their laughter reverberated through the entire section. If I can raise her attraction level a bit more, maybe I could go for a number. Their cigarettes already went out, but Leah looked at Ben with a coquettish glance before pulling out another one. As she was about to ask for another light, something interrupted them. A third party walked out into the smoking section. Babe, there you are. A huge muscular man strolled up from behind her. When he saw she was talking to Ben alone, his eyes became cold. Hostile adventure detected. Chapter 38. Dungeon Break. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Come on. We're going back in, the hulking man ordered Leah. Her eyes betrayed a trace of annoyance, but she put away the unsmoked cigarette. I've gotta go. Bye. She waved to Ben as she walked inside. Her boyfriend didn't follow her. He stayed in place staring at Ben. When she was out of sight, he issued a threat. Don't let me catch you talking to my girlfriend again, you little douche. Or I'll *CK you up. After leaving those words with a menacing glare, he followed behind her. Ben gritted his teeth as he tasted the humiliation, but it wasn't unfamiliar to him. His life had improved the past few weeks, so he almost forgot what it was like. He watched his lonesome reflection in the glass window of the bar. When will I not be someone's ashtray? He looked down with a self-deprecating smile. He thought of using the bad luck perfume, 2 or 3 times, in fact, but that was a rare item. If he used items like that on any random jabroni with no potential gains for himself, he'd end up dead in a week like an idiot. Would it be worth it? Ben shook his head and walked back inside. Walking through the dim-lit bar, music blasted in Ben's ears as he glanced down at his phone. The 3 hours for the event were almost up. "Cuz." Antonio lifted his arm and shouted to get Ben's attention. He was leaning on the bar now. Ben walked over and asked, "How'd you do with that girl you were with?" "Good. Got digits. How about you?" Any luck? Ben swept his teeth with his tongue and shook his head. Antonio shrugged. Don't worry about it. If you haven't noticed, night game's much harder. Why? Antonio put on a helpless smile. Man, have you looked around? The guys that go out to bars and clubs tend to be taller, better looking, and richer because they can afford to spend on these absurd entrance and drink prices. It's a much more competitive and challenging scene. On top of that, every chick gets hit on by 10 dudes, so their egos inflate. Their standards become unrealistic, making it harder for average-looking guys like us. Ben rubbed his chin. He felt what Antonio said was reasonable. Antonio continued. That doesn't mean night game is useless. After all, bars are the best place to find the mythical drunk s.l.u.ts. It's their natural habitat. They're creatures of the night. Daytime is a different animal. Last call. The bartender yelled. The 3-hour limit on the special event only had a few minutes remaining, and the two of them were exhausted. So they went outside first before people crowded the exits. You want to do this again tomorrow? Ben asked. He'd be out every night from now on until he cleared his death mission. Antonio shrugged. Sure, why not? I ain't got nothing going on. Then he remembered something. Oh, can you meet me at another place a bit earlier tomorrow? I want to show you a spot. Ben agreed. As they were about to bid farewell, Ben froze when he heard an alert. Dungeon break detected. He blinked. Dungeon break. Antonio yawned, then asked, what's the matter? Ben glanced at Domina's entrance. It was late now and there were fewer people on the streets. The staff in the bar turned off the music and switched on the lights. This was something nightlife venues did to urge the patrons to exit so the staff could go home. As a result, everyone rushed the exits. Ben watched as the wooden doors to the bar swung open and a crowd of people flooded out. He made a guess, but he checked with the system to confirm. Dungeon break. All summoned s.l.u.ts return to the wild. It could be an opportunity, but only for the bravest adventurers. Ben's eyes glimmered. Now that I consider it, it's a good time to pick up women. Ben understood the logic of the system. The girls coming out now would be the drunkest. Antonio. This is no time to rest. Destiny is calling all heroes to assemble. Antonio knitted his eyebrows. He didn't understand what Ben was talking about. Ben explained with urgency. All the drunk women are flooding out. What better time to run openers than now? Aren't they going home? Let's convince them to bring home a stray. Antonio didn't need to hear another word. He slapped himself twice on each cheek. I'm hulking out. Feeling more awake, he looked at Ben with newfound respect in his eyes. Great men always keep their eyes open for opportunities. Ben was staring at Bree A.S.Ts and asses. All right. This won't last long. Machine gun openers. Stick and move. Fire off an opener, and if it doesn't fly, move to the next. I know you're tired too, so just say whatever. Bentonio. Assemble. Antonio cried to the sky, but Ben was already in the thick of battle. Ben looked around for a decent target. *T, I haven't done openers this tired and with so little time before. He felt half-conscious, like he wouldn't even be able to filter his speech anymore. Then his head swiveled because he heard Antonio's voice. His cousin started before him. Antonio was talking to a girl on the street corner. I like you. Why? She asked. You seem nice. Thanks. I like you so much. So far. Don't ruin it. Thanks. I love you. My D.I.C.K's getting hard right now. That's very inappropriate, she said. That I'm not breaking any boner laws. I don't think. I want to touch you right now. I want to be all over you. Like stink on a monkey. Antonio raised his eyebrows. Wow. I'm shocked. Most people would have run away by now. I'm in a wheelchair. And we're at a red light. I like patient girls. Chapter 39. First proper date. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 7 days. For the 100th time today, the voice of Samara from the ring rang in Ben's head. That was also the number of times he'd checked his phone's clock since he sat down. She sure is running late. He was sitting at a candlelit dinner table in Gregori's, an Italian restaurant, by himself. The sound of couples chatting blended with light classical music to create the perfect romantic atmosphere for a date. Ben had spent a lot of time researching online to find this place, attempting to make this occasion perfect, but he wasn't meant to enjoy it alone. Yesterday ended getting no new phone numbers, so he was depending on today's date. He arranged to meet Katie, the anime.fan girl from the park a week ago. They confirmed it yesterday for this time and place. She said yesterday that she'd come, so I'm sure she'll be here soon. An old male waiter with a kind disposition put his hand on Ben's shoulder. Young man, it's been 2 hours. I don't think she's coming. He had a sympathetic face and eyes that sheltered their own painful memories, the sort of eyes that had a story to tell. The sort that spoke without saying a word. Ben gazed for a long time into those honest eyes. It was as if he could see himself in them, the him that made foolish mistakes, the him that hid from pain and difficulties, that avoided the truth. Who? Ben asked. Who's coming? I'm not waiting for anyone. I'm alone. I like it here. They stared at each other for several seconds, before both glancing at the empty seat opposite Ben. There was a 5-course meal there. It was Ben's first proper date. He was so nervous that every time the waiter asked him if he needed anything, he couldn't help but order something else for both him and Katie. He looked back into the old man's sincere eyes, feeling bad for the ridiculous lie he told before. My wife died. Ben doubled down. Today was our 3rd anniversary. The old man's eyes were like a clear pool of water. They were deep, filled with life's vicissitudes. He listened to Ben's tale while nodding his head with warmth and understanding. Did she? No. The waiter sighed. He gazed into the distance, lost in his own memories, the good times and the bad times, the pain and the happiness. It wasn't until several minutes later that his mind returned to the present. As the waiter's bittersweet eyes looked at Ben's table, they gained a touch more bitterness. He didn't pay. Ben escaped. He left a dozen untouched dishes. As the waiter's bittersweet eyes looked at Ben's table, they gained a touch more sweetness. I'm going to eat it. Life's vicissitudes. The sadness and the joy. That was his goal all along. Some distance from there, Ben was making his escape. Forgive me, old man. I can't afford that meal. Plus, your weird cross eyes were freaking me out. I'll pay you back in my next life so you can buy LASIK. His head hung low as he walked to the place he agreed to meet Antonio. His first date was a flake. A total rejection. A total failure. Yo cuz. Why the long face? Ben looked up and found Antonio waiting for him at a bench on the sidewalk. Grabbing a seat next to him, Ben fought through the depression and narrated his failed date over the sounds of cars and pedestrians. After hearing the full story, Antonio nodded as if he knew what the problem was. Cuz, there's a lot of shit I don't know, but I've been on a good amount of dates, I've read about it and Beluga's told me some stuff. In short, you made a lot of errors. I'll break it down. First, you never have one of your first dates at a restaurant. Food is high-octane fart fuel. You should always prefer your chicks on electric or hybrid power. Ben blinked in confusion. I can't speak donkey lord or whatever language you just uttered. But don't most people go for dinner on dates? Antonio sneered. Most people are clueless. Food dates have too many issues. First, some chicks expect you to pay for them since you invited them. You already know payin' is for suckers, so there's no point in simpin' out. When he thought of the next point, Antonio shook his head in disgust. Then, after eatin', the chick's gonna feel fat and tired, she's not gonna wanna get N.A.K.E.D while feelin' like a butter golem. Ben's eyes widened in realization. She's the one who suggested dinner. So you're saying that it's a trap? Antonio nodded. One where you'll end up with nothin', not even a hand Jabba the Hutt. Chapter 40. Baby in Burning Building. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Two young men walked through New York City's bustling nighttime streets while discussing the intricacies of the modern dating scene. Smells of cigarettes, street food, and perfumes of passing pedestrians blended together to form the city's natural fragrance, eau de hot garbage. If dinner is a Sarlacc pit trap, then where would you take a girl? Ben asked. Antonio answered, pretend she broke her jaw gossipin' with her girlfriends and keep her on a liquid diet, drinks are best. If they don't drink alcohol, then coffee. If nothin' else, you can go for a walk somewhere. Just don't let them stuff their face in front of you, especially on a first date. This ain't Pac-Man. Ben typed a note into his phone. Pac-Manning. Not allowed. Antonio continued. Second issue, when's the last time you spoke with her? Last night. When we confirmed today's date. Antonio shook his head with a helpless smile. You're courting death. Ben's right eye twitched. Ever since he introduced his cousin to Asian web novels, he's been picking up random xianxia terms and using them in normal conversation. Antonio explained. Bro, you've gotta understand that most chicks have the attention spans of toddlers. If you don't want to get flaked on, remember this word, confirmation. You need to get confirmation the day of the date, and more than one. It ain't as simple as it sounds. In general, textin' and callin' chicks is like playin' checkers, there are all kinds of errors you can make where any of them will queen her. That'll be game over for you. Ben released a stressful sigh. So is this lead dead? Antonio's face showed a smirk. Maybe not that I'm gonna teach you how to beat any girl in checkers. You'll use a favored tactic of the greatest strategists of ancient history. His smirk distorted into a scheming grin. Cheat. Some would frown upon that word, but Ben wasn't one of them. He loved infinite gold hacks. This was a flavor that matched his appetite. He listened with more focus than in any class since he started college. Ben's attitude satisfied Antonio, who believed future prospects with women would improve depending on two characteristics. How eager you were to learn, and how little shame you had. In these characteristics, Ben was a top prospect. Antonio needed to take proper care of this baby Yoda. Antonio said, if setting up dates is like a checkers game, then all you gotta do is flip the board around. I'm not following your metaphor. Antonio chuckled. Look, society expects guys to pursue chicks, not the other way around, right? In that scenario, she's the prize, that puts you at a natural disadvantage. As any good war game vet knows, the defender has the edge, so if you play by the rules, you'll always be fightin' an uphill battle. Lucky for us, this battlefield is one of perception, the roles of attacker and defender ain't set in stone. So all you gotta do is reverse the roles and become the prize yourself. So I should become a piñata. Antonio shrugged. If you want, now that I think about it, a piñata doesn't work a day in its life. So I have to hang from a ceiling while a gang of children beat me into a hate crime victim. No. Then you can be the candy. I'll only end up in a chubster kid's stomach. Shut up. You're ruinin' my metaphor. Look, my point is, you've gotta flip things around so it seems like you ain't the one chasin' her, even though you are. If you play it well, you can even make her chase you. Ben didn't know Antonio was so clever. While his ears filtered out the loud honking cars in the background, he pondered the concept. Antonio stopped walking and turned to Ben. She thinks she flaked on you, right? That is, if she even remembers you had a date. I'll show you a move as an example. Give me your phone. Ben handed Antonio his phone and Antonio typed a text message. On the other side of town, Katie was at her hair salon getting a trim. Beep, her phone emitted a new message alarm. She picked it up and saw the sender. Oh, it's that guy I talked to yesterday, Ben. Wait. Didn't we have a date today? I totally forgot. Oh well, guess I flaked on him. Whatever. Then she read the text. My bad, I couldn't make it. Hope you didn't wait there long. Had emergency. Baby in burning building. Katie raised an eyebrow. Is he saying he saved a baby in a burning building? She was confused. But intrigued. So he flaked on me. Now she was even more intrigued. A guy has never flaked on her. Baby in burning building. What am I, Superman? Ben yelled. Nah, that's ridiculous. Superman wouldn't care about a single baby. He's economical. If you ain't in a bus or plane, you're going in the river. Antonio replied. You made me sound crazy. Antonio laughed. It was a line that was both funny and interesting. More important is she won't know if we're kidding or serious. Confusion is the name of the game. If you can keep a chick confused about you, she'll keep thinking about you, making you the prize. Trust me bro, it'll work. That'll hook her. Beep. The two of them gazed at Ben's phone as it got an alert. It was a text message from Katie. Ben glanced at Antonio, who was still smirking, then he read the message. No problems, we can rest. Tell me about this baby. Ben gasped, before shouting, baby in burning building. He believed he discovered a hack to the Matrix. Shut up. You're scaring away the customers. The hot dog vendor at the side screamed at Ben. Ben didn't care. His heartbeat sped up as he repeated the line in his head. He knew what he needed to do now to be popular with women. It was obvious. Even a toddler would get it. He'd become a superhero.